ladies and gentlemen. So today I got finished playing this game. I was gonna do YouTube footage on this gameplay, but I messed up the videos. So I'm just gonna do a review and say this game gets a 5 out of 5. It's definitely better than the previous remake, or better at the previous remakes 1 and 2. Way better than that. And then when he made 0, this is way better than that as well. Honestly, in my opinion, I feel like this is like the best of all the earlier entries that I've played. 4 is still my favorite. Resident Evil 4 is still my favorite, but maybe tomorrow, I'll probably play this, or should I say, record some footage of this game, and then you get to see how I feel about it and all that stuff. But let's talk about why it was so great. Why it was so great was because of how it began. So it began in such an intense fashion. I was like, wow, this is so different. I mean, especially the part when she was in the bathroom, and then I'm not going to spoil it for you, haven't played the game yet. But, there was a crazy part there. So they got off to a really good start, and it just kept getting crazier and crazier. This guy that was on the screen has been chasing her from the beginning to the end, and they completely redid that whole thing, how they did it. I mean, yeah, in the previous Resident Evil 3 iteration. So that game, I never had a chance to finish that version because the device died on me. So what was it? The chapel or the cathedral or whatever you call it. That's where I got stuck. After you fought the giant worm. Sorry to spoil this one part. That worm is not in this game. They took it out. They took it out. But at least I got to see the rest of it on YouTube. And to compare this versus that version, I still think the original, honestly, the originals for all the games, they still have something that these newer versions don't have. And that obviously would be the stuff that they took out. All the extra puzzles. This game is it has 0 puzzles in it. That's what I really liked about the original games, was the puzzles. They completely took it out. But what they did do as an alternative was they intensified the gameplay. And it basically kept you on your toes, but so did the original version. But this kept you on your toes in a different fashion. And it got to a part where I was like, dude, I'm almost out of ammo. And then, especially at the last part of the game, I was like, oh, I missed this part. So I basically took on another approach, and I was like, yes, we beat the game, yes. Some things are done differently, so I'm going to go back, and I'm probably going to try to attempt a speed run or something like that, and then I'm going to try to attempt a speed run. There's got to be infinite ammo in this game. That's like the best part of these games, is when you go back, you do the speed runs, you do all the extra challenges, and then you get some goodies. That's awesome. When I say goodies, I mean the infinite weapons. You get to kick some serious monster ass in these games. It's pretty awesome. So, what else do I want to say about this game? They definitely rerouted the entire direction of this game. They really did. Everything was done greatly. So, if you're more on the visual side, you would say that you might be the person that said this tops the original version. If you're like myself, you'll say the original version has something that this one doesn't have, the puzzles. Same with the remake of 2. So I'll probably be doing this game, and then I'll go back and do 2, since I never put 2 on this channel. And I had plenty of time to do that. I was just, been so busy working and all that crazy stuff and all that good stuff. But since I didn't play it today, for YouTube, and I just played it by myself, I just figured, why not just do a review on it at least, and then just talk about how good this freaking game is. It was amazing. Jill was badass. I would say this was Jill's best game. Even the original version, this was Jill's best game. Between Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 3, and, let me see, what other game was she in? She was also in Umbrella Chronicles, so when they did that Russian mission, I honestly think they should redo that and give that a remake, especially the Chronicles games, even the one where Leon was in Darkside Chronicles. They should redo all those games and then do it in third person, because I think third person is pretty badass. I like first person. The thing is, third person is even better for me. You know, I just personally have a preference for third person. That's all. I think first person belongs to maybe some other games where they want you to focus more on the horror and like feel tense and a lot of anxiety and probably feeling hopeless. This game doesn't really do that. Yeah, this game doesn't really do this. Why maybe first person doesn't necessarily fit this. At least that's just my point of view. But yeah, there was a first person segment in this game though. It was very brief, and that's about it. So they brought third person back after Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 8 is going to be coming out sometime in the future, but they're going to be releasing it on PlayStation 5. Um, and the main character, Ethan Winters, he's supposed to be the main character coming back. And there were some spoilers and some rumors that Chris Redfield, the main character of the entire Resident Evil, he's pretty much the face of Resident Evil. For those of you that are familiar with the character, he appeared in Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil Code Veronica, Resident Evil Revelations 1, Resident Evil 5, what was another one? 6, and then he came back in 7. There were some other entries in the series that he was in. He's going to be back in 8, they said. They said he's supposed to kill Ethan Winters. So a lot of people assume that that makes him a villain. It might have been, it doesn't necessarily have to be that. It could be that Chris accidentally kills Ethan. But I'm just throwing that in there in a review that had nothing to do with this particular game. But, this particular game could at least prepare us for what's to come, maybe slightly in 8. Who knows? Maybe 8 is crazy like this game. Maybe you get chased around by a bunch of shit. But actually, no. 8's supposed to be almost like a replica of 4. Yeah, it's almost. Like, at least the details that they gave us, they said that witches might be in the game. I'm thinking, well, the only way the witches would make sense in the game is if they were a lot like, what's the guy's name? Osmond Sadler in 4, when he was controlling the people with the plaga. So he basically used his hand as if he was doing telekinesis. That would make sense if they did something like that. And then that's what made them witches, was because they did stuff like that rather than just putting witches in there. So almost looks it would almost make that game look like a carbon copy of something else. But anyway, let's not talk about 8 yet. Let's finish talking about 3. 3 was crazy and it was awesome. But apparently I made a lot of mistakes in this game because I rushed the game. So I'm going to go back, replay the game, and re-strategize where I probably should have strategized better. Although getting through this game was mostly cake, at least to me. I need to go back and play it on hardcore and then, go from there. But anyway, this game was really fun. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I felt like, Resident Evil 2's remake, they probably could have done a little bit more with that. But 3 definitely topped 2. This game topped 2. Like, what they did with this one, how they intensified it, it really topped 2. 2 was still good. I still play it. 1 is good for what it is. I actually like it. I actually like that. But anyway, you have a good day. That's pretty much all I wanted to say about this. I'm not exactly the best at reviews, but that was my take on this game. It's awesome. Then again, I'm more of a shower rather than a teller kind of thing. I'll show you how it's great. Yeah, just by playing the game for you. Yeah. Just play it for you. I'll say, you know what? I like what they did with Nemesis. They changed him. The final fight, from what I remember, like what I've seen in the original version, it seems a little bit different this time. It reminds me of Dead Space, but I'm not gonna spoil too much of it for you. But when you get around to it, you'll see why I said that. That final fight reminds me of Dead Space. And then how the characters die in the game, and like certain characters that are in the game, everything happens a lot differently. They switched around how the story progressed pretty much, which I like how they did a spin on that. But it had zombies in it, and then it had those cephalic mutations, kind of like what you see in Resident Evil 4. That was something new, and then they had a new monster in there that was in the sewers. Like I said, they took the worm out, so they changed some of the monsters. and they added some things to the game. They took something out, and then